You say you want success. You talk about your goals, your dreams, your potential. But here's the truth. Until you get serious, none of it matters. Not the vision boards, not the late night ideas, not the big talk. Because wanting something and being serious about getting it are two completely different things. Getting serious means making a decision, a real one, not just a hopeful intention, not just a maybe someday mindset, but a line in the sand, burn the bridge kind of commitment. It means you stop treating your goals like side hobbies and start treating them like your only option. If you're not where you want to be right now, it's not because the opportunity isn't there, it's because your focus isn't. You're too scattered, too distracted. You're still entertaining things that waste your time, still saying yes to people and habits that pull you away from your mission, still living like you've got unlimited chances to get it right. Commitment is the dividing line between those who talk and those who do. Most people say they want success, but what they really mean is that they want it if it's convenient, if it's easy, if it doesn't require too much sacrifice. That's not commitment, that's curiosity. That's passive interest. That's dabbling in your dreams instead of building them. And that mindset never leads to anything real. Real commitment looks different. It doesn't depend on mood or motivation. It doesn't show up when everything feels right. It shows up when nothing does. When you're tired, when you're frustrated, when things aren't working the way you planned. That's the test. That's the point where most people quit because their desire wasn't built on a decision, it was built on emotion. And emotion fades. But a decision, a real one, endures. When you're truly committed, you stop negotiating with yourself. You don't ask, should I work today? Or do I feel like showing up? You've already decided. The work is not optional. The process is non-negotiable. The time is now, every day, whether it's comfortable or not. You stop looking for signs, waiting for perfect timing, or trying to feel ready, because you understand that waiting is a form of resistance. It's disguised procrastination. The truth is, commitment doesn't live in words, it lives in actions. Anyone can say they're committed, but real commitment shows in what you prioritize. It shows in how you spend your time, how you structure your days, and what you're willing to sacrifice. It shows in your willingness to walk away from anything that doesn't align with your goals, no matter how tempting or familiar it is. People want results, but they don't want the responsibility that comes with them. They want freedom without discipline, success without discomfort, and growth without change. But those things never exist together. You have to choose. And commitment is that choice. It's choosing your goals over your excuses, your purpose over your preferences, your future over your feelings. Commitment is also clarity. When you know exactly what you want, you don't get distracted by every opportunity or thrown off by every obstacle. You move differently. You think long-term. You start saying no to the wrong things without guilt, and yes to the right things without hesitation. That level of clarity comes from being all in, not 1 foot in, 1 foot out, hoping something good just falls into place. Commitment means being willing to look ridiculous, to fail publicly, to be misunderstood. It means doing the work without recognition, showing up when nobody is watching, and pushing through when you have every reason to stop. It's not glamorous, it's not always exciting, but it's the foundation of everything meaningful. The ones who rise aren't the most talented, the most connected, or the most lucky. They're the ones who decided without conditions that they would not stop, that they would not turn back, that they would either find a way or create one. That's what separates commitment from interest. Interest hopes, commitment works. Focus is the separator. It's the skill behind all other skills, the quiet force that turns effort into impact. Without it, energy is wasted, time is lost, progress is delayed. It doesn't matter how much potential you have, how good your intentions are, or how many goals you've set. If your attention is scattered, nothing gets done. Focus is what takes a scattered life and shapes it into something powerful. Most people live in a constant state of distraction. Their attention is pulled in every direction by noise, notifications, other people's priorities, and internal doubt. They're always busy, but rarely productive. Always moving, but rarely moving forward. This is what happens when focus is missing. You become reactive instead of intentional. You're constantly responding to what's loudest instead of choosing what matters most. You can't build anything meaningful without focus. Not a business, not a career, not a strong mindset. You need deep, sustained concentration to grow, to understand, to create. But focus isn't just about cutting out distractions. It's about locking in on what matters. It's about choosing your direction with precision and protecting it with discipline. It's about being ruthless with your time, your environment, and your habits so that your energy is going exactly where it needs to go. People say they don't have time, but what they really don't have is focus. They jump from task to task, project to project, without finishing anything. They chase quick wins and shortcuts because they don't have the patience to go deep. But the rewards don't come from the surface, they come from depth. And depth requires focus. It requires you to say no more than you say yes. It requires you to give up good things so you can go after great ones. Focus is also a mindset. It's a commitment to your priorities, not just a reaction to your environment. It's choosing not to be available to everything and everyone. It's knowing that multitasking is a myth and that divided attention means diluted results. When you focus, you're not just working harder, you're working smarter. You're giving your full capacity to the task at hand, and that's when real progress happens. To develop focus, you have to train it. You have to create space in your life where attention can thrive. That means putting down your phone, managing your schedule, and designing your day around your goals, not your impulses. It means embracing boredom, discomfort, and stillness, because that's where clarity is found. Focus grows in silence, not in chaos. The more focused you are, the more powerful you become. Because while others are being pulled in 10 different directions, you're locked in, you're building momentum. You're doing the deep work that actually moves the needle. Focus makes your efforts compound. It turns hours into outcomes. It turns repetition into mastery. It takes your ambition and turns it into execution. It's not about doing more, it's about doing what matters with full intensity. Working hard without thinking clearly is a trap. It creates the illusion of progress, but it often leads to burnout, frustration, and wasted time. The world is full of people grinding every day, putting in hours, hustling from sunup to sundown, but not moving forward. Why? Because effort without direction is just motion, not momentum. The difference between those who succeed and those who stay stuck isn't always work ethics, it's how they use their mind. It's not just about working harder, it's about working smarter. Smart work means having clarity on what matters most. It means understanding that not all effort is equal. Some tasks move you forward. Others just keep you busy. Without strategy, it's easy to spend your days reacting to distractions, jumping from one task to another, and checking boxes that don't bring you closer to your goals. People often mistake being active for being productive, but they're not the same. Being busy is easy. Being effective requires focus, intention, and clear priorities. To work smart, you have to stop doing everything and start doing the right things. You have to be willing to cut out the noise, say no to things that don't align with your purpose, and direct your time toward high-impact actions. This requires thought. It requires planning. It requires stepping back, looking at the bigger picture, and asking hard questions. What am I actually trying to build? What actions bring the highest return? What am I doing just to feel productive? Smart work is also about systems. You don't rely on motivation or willpower every day. You build routines that carry you when your energy doesn't. You build habits that make progress automatic. You streamline what doesn't matter so you have more room to focus on what does. Systems save energy, reduce decision fatigue, and help you stay consistent even on your worst days. Hard workers rely on brute force. Smart workers rely on intelligent structure. Another part of working smart is knowing how to leverage. You don't have to do everything alone. Learn to delegate, learn to automate, learn to use tools and resources that make your work more efficient. Success doesn't go to the one who does it. It goes to the one who builds a process that scales, improves, and evolves. That kind of thinking comes from the decision to stop doing everything the hard way just to prove you're working. Working smart also means being able to adapt. You're constantly learning, adjusting, and improving. You're open to feedback. You analyze your results. You ask what's working, what's not, and you pivot when needed. Learning without action is the fastest way to feel productive while staying exactly where you are. It's easy to get caught in the loop of collecting knowledge, reading books, watching videos, listening to podcasts, taking notes, highlighting quotes. It feels good. It feels like progress. But it only becomes progress when it's applied. Learning is not the finish line, it's the starting point. What you do with what you know is what makes the difference. A lot of people are addicted to information. They chase inspiration and insight like it's a drug. They think that if they just learn a little more, read one more thing, follow one more expert, they'll finally feel ready to start. But that day never comes. Because the more they learn without acting, the more overwhelmed they get. Knowledge without action turns into clutter. It piles up, becomes heavy, and starts to feel like pressure instead of power. You don't need more information, you need more execution. Most people already know what they need to do. They don't lack the strategy, they lack the courage to begin. They use learning as a delay tactic, a way to avoid the discomfort of actually starting. But clarity doesn't come from more thinking. It comes from doing, from trying, from failing, from figuring it out in the process. Action sharpens understanding in ways books and videos never can. The smartest people are not the ones who know the most. They're the ones who apply the most. They test, they experiment, they take what they learn and put it into practice immediately. That's how they build momentum. That's how they grow fast. They don't get stuck waiting until they feel confident. They move before they're ready, because they know that real learning happens in motion, not in theory. Learning with purpose means filtering information through the lens of your goals. Not everything deserves your attention. Not every new idea needs to be absorbed. Being smart is knowing what to ignore. It's about studying with the intention to apply, not just to feel knowledgeable. If you're not using what you're learning, you're just entertaining yourself. And entertainment doesn't build anything. You grow when you start connecting knowledge to action. When you read something, apply it the same day. When you learn a concept, ask yourself how it changes your approach, your habits, your priorities. Make the bridge between knowing and doing as short as possible. That bridge is where progress lives. It's where insight becomes skill, where potential becomes performance. Information is only powerful when it changes your behavior. Wisdom comes from experience, not just exposure. You don't get better by reading, you get better by doing, reflecting, adjusting, and doing again. You can't think your way into mastery, you have to act your way into it. One step, one experiment, one decision at a time. Knowledge is a tool. It can sharpen you, or it can weigh you down. What makes the difference is how quickly you move from idea to action, how willing you are to stop consuming and start building, how brave you are to take the leap from knowing what to do to actually doing it. When you combine seriousness with strategy, you stop relying on hope and start leaning into certainty. Seriousness without a plan is scattered energy. Strategy without commitment is wasted potential. But when you bring both together, you move with purpose, with clarity, and with unstoppable force. That's the formula for real power: being relentless and being smart about it. Seriousness means you've decided that your goals are not optional. You're not testing the waters. You're all in. There's no more treating your ambitions like side projects. There's no more waiting until life gets easier or the timing feels perfect. You show up whether you feel like it or not. You stop making excuses. You stop entertaining distractions. Every decision you make, every hour you spend gets filtered through the question, does this move me forward or not? But that energy has to be directed. Without strategy, even the most intense effort can lead to burnout. That's where smart execution comes in. You start looking at your time like current every minute is an investment. You prioritize, you plan, you stop doing things just because everyone else is doing them. You don't chase trends, you chase results. You get clear on what works, and you do it with precision. When you operate with seriousness and strategy, you become efficient. You learn to cut the fluff. You stop trying to do 100 things and instead focus on the few that actually matter. It's not about being busy, it's about being effective. You measure progress, not just activity. You set targets, you track results, and you adapt when things aren't working. There's no room for guesswork. Everything is intentional. You also learn to anticipate obstacles. You're not surprised when challenges show up, you expect them. That's part of the plan. You're not derailed by setbacks because your strategy accounts for them. You've built mental toughness and practical systems to keep moving. That's the power of being both serious and strategic. It gives you stability and momentum. You don't just start strong, you stay strong. This combination forces you to grow. You can't fake it. When you take your goals seriously and back them up with a strategy, every weakness gets exposed. Every flaw in your thinking, every gap in your discipline, it all comes to the surface. But that's how you level up. You don't avoid discomfort, you face it. You adjust, you get better, and over time, that focus compounds. That's how you go from potential to performance. Most people are either too casual or too scattered. They either want it badly but have no structure, or they're organized but lack true hunger. But when you bridge that gap, when your intensity is matched by intelligence, you become a force. You become someone who doesn't just dream, but builds. Someone who doesn't just move, but moves with aim. That kind of alignment is rare, and it's powerful. You stop hoping success will find you. You start engineering it. Every move has meaning. Every day has direction. You lead your life with clarity and fire, and nothing drifts, you drive it.